I am doing something different today and I've decided to cover M&B Bannerlord. One of my most favorite games of all time. Which, let's be honest guys, M&B Bannerlord is essentially Skyrim but without dragons. And I'm going to combine every single mod I am using that I think you should use if you want a perfect Vanilla Plus experience. Few things before we start, all of those mods are working perfectly. I only get crashes with one specific mod and I'm going to address that. Second thing, because we are getting a DLC in the next few mods, this Modlist and this whole video will probably won't work when that will happen. So if you're watching this video 3 or 4 months from now and you're complaining why your game is crashy, I just wanted to address that. I will appreciate it if you drop a like. Very few of you guys are subscribed to the channel. It doesn't cost anything, it's actually free and it shows me that you care and you would love more of those type of videos. Let's begin. The first mod that I think should go on everybody's mod list is the realistic battle mode. RPM is maybe the most effective mod on this list to turn M&B Bannerlord into the perfect Vanilla Plus experience. Few of the features that it does, first of all, it overhauls every single armor in the game and it makes sense of the armor values. Getting hit on the head or underneath your armpits or in places where your armor doesn't have protection, it's going to resolve into death. That goes for you, for your enemies. It balances every single weapon in the game. You will actually need to trust when it comes to fighting elite units that wear high armor unless you are using a hammer. RBM also enhances the combat, makes the AI way more aggressive, gives better formation when it comes to battles. It makes the combat way more challenging, but that's not all, because now every time you're going to attack or take damage with RBM, you will have a stamina meter. It's called fatigue, but I'm calling it stamina meter. Every time you're going to hit or take damage, your fatigue bar will go down. This will not affect the damage you do, but it will make it where when you have very low fatigue or 0, the next swing you're going to take, you will take damage even if you are blocking. If you are riding a horse, this is going to dismount you. Everything I've talked about works for the enemies, and what I love about this mod as well is the progression that it adds to your character. You will feel extremely weak at the start, but you also won't feel as godly in the end where you will have everything maxed. It's a nice balanced mod and you can also break the game with this, but it plays so much more better. It's immersive and also realistic. So this is RBM. You want to combine the spear preference fix, just a bug fix that also is going to fix an issue with the spears. Very simple stuff. Next I'm covering the second big overhaul called Diplomacy. If you've played Bannerlord, you realize that the early game is super fun, but during the mid or end game, the game becomes boring.
Just like in real life.
Especially in the end game. Diplomacy is going to completely change that, and it's going to add way more options when it comes to politics in Skyrim. Wait, did I say Skyrim? I meant in Calradia. This will make it where anytime a war will happen, you will have war exhaustion. That means the more fights are happening and the more casualties will go on, the losing side, once it reaches 100% of exhaustion due to war preparations and war casualties, they will surrender by paying you a fee. This makes everything so much more different, but Diplomacy doesn't only add that. It adds options for the kingdoms, such as creating small peace treaties or doing way more political stuff in Calradia. And the thing is, this also overhauls the AI. Diplomacy will completely spice up your playthroughs because it will make the AI completely unpredictable. It will also give you choices as well, but this enhances, in my opinion, the super lacking mid and late game. And I cannot play M&B Bannerlord without using Diplomacy. Next overhaul is going to be the Bandit Nation Full Edition, which which is going to make it where bandits now will play way much more different when it comes to their hideouts. You will be able to select every single troop you have when you're attacking those bandit hideouts. You'll have hundreds of bandits inside. This makes those hideouts way more dangerous to approach, and if by the end you refuse to duel their chief, you will have some very chaotic and super badass fights. Next we have Horse Mod. This mod lets you by visiting any big city to select the stables, where you can select your own mount, give it a name, and the mount, the more you use it, it will level up and grow up each bond with you. This is a nice way to progress your character, make stronger mounts, and I even tried to use a camel with this. Spoilers ahead guys, I do have some camel mods coming next, but camels are not as strong as horses, so if you want to be super strong, I would highly recommend you to avoid using a camel. Next we have the fast dialogue, which is going to do exactly that. It's going to make most of the dialogues to go super fast without the use of loading screens, which is extremely annoying, especially on the early stages of the game. You want to combine this with carrier, banners and torches, which is going to let your armies or the enemy's armies use banners and torches, which were non-existent before, let alone suicidal, especially the banner. With this mod, your armies and the enemy's armies will carry torches, which is very immersive, especially if you're fighting during the night, which you cannot see jack shit most of the time. And when it comes to the banners, I always love that we have more soldiers holding those, which is historically accurate. Next we're using the complex characters. This is going to completely enhance the dialogues you will have with most of the characters. Many of the lords and kicks on your enemies will have specific and unique dialogues. It will expand so much more of what feels lacking when it comes to the character interaction that we have in Mount & Blade. Next we have the Immersive Battlefields, and this combined with RBM, it's going to make the battlefields way more realistic. This will change how charging works when it comes to horses. This will change how your infantry or your archers react when it comes to a bunch of different tactics. This makes the battlefield so much more immersive, as the mod implies. This will also make it where anytime you're going to shout for any commands, you will have your lieutenants or commanders also repeat the shout, making the combat feel way more in-depth, and it's going to make the whole combat less hollow by having your companions or your troopers repeating and screaming their lungs out with your commands. Next we have the perfect fire arrows, which is going to add fire arrows during the night. This doesn't change the damage or any values at all, but it's only used for the spectacle of it. Look how beautiful this looks. Your sieges or your fights during nights will actually look visually appealing. It might not be as immersive or realistic, but it hell makes all of the fights look so much more cooler. It even adds flame effects to the arrows, like burning when they hit the ground or even when they hit enemies. I wish we had an option to toggle this on and off, or maybe use it with specific traits, but in the end of the day this is the best we will get when it comes to using fire arrows. You're going to get the war horns, which is going to have different sounds for war horns playing during the battles. Your commanders will be using those, and it makes all of the fights so much more immersive. Next you're going to use the CC's banners, which is going to give you hundreds of new banners to choose, most of which were historically accurate, so you will have a brand new selections of banners for any of your playthroughs, so you can choose what sigil you like for your house. Next we have the realistic blood. Mount & Blade Bannerlord has this weird thing when sometimes you kill troops, doesn't matter what armor they wear, they splatter so much more blood, it makes me feel I'm watching Neo Genesis Evangelion or something. This will fix that weird bug, and it will also make it where troops that are using heavy armor will not actually splatter blood, which makes sense. The splatter will only come from troopers that don't use heavy armor, and it's in my opinion a must mod to have. Next we have the Camel Armor. That is right, this is going to give you Camel Armor for your camels if you like to use. use. If you want to use the horse mode, again you can raise a camel and put some armor in it. Spoilers ahead guys, I've got a high level camel with the horse mode. It is not anywhere near as strong as horses, let alone its armor that actually weighs so much more. That being said, if you love camels and if you love to build an army based around camels or companions using those, this is a perfect mode to have. Does it make sense that camels can use heavy armors? No it doesn't. Does it look cool? Hell yeah it does. You can also use the RBM patch I will have in the video description. Next we have the women in Calradia. It is going to enhance most of the women when it comes to Calradia, overhauling them and making them look way more beautiful. This will only impact some of the companions, the queens and the lords that you will find in the kingdom. You want to add on top of this the no big smiles, which is going to remove the psychopathic big smiles the female NPCs draw, and this is going to make them look way more subtle and way more modest. Then we have Kingdoms of Calradia. This is going to add a bunch of new castles in locations where they were empty before. Some of those locations are amazing for battles. It expands the map just a little where it makes sense, and it's super fun to have this mode because you will always encounter new battlefields or new castles that you've never fought before. We have the Chivalry combat sounds, which overhauls all of the combat sounds, from the spears, the swords, the impacts of the shields, from screaming. If you are bored of the vanilla sounds and you want something much more chaotic, Chivalry combat sounds, it's an amazing mode to have. Next we have Bannercraft. What Bannercraft does, it lets you craft armors and improve them, which is an amazing thing to have. The developers of Mounted Blade probably wanted to add armor craft in the game, but they had no time for it. Them being super lazy made the community to essentially fix that with this mod, and now you will be able to craft any armor you want and even improve it all the way to its legendary stat, which gives you way more options. You can dress your companions with anything you want and you don't have to travel all the way around trying to search for all of the gear you want like you're playing Pokemon. And do you remember when I told you about having crashes? This is the only mod I have that sometimes it's going to crash my game. You might not want to install this. If you are going to install it, I will recommend you to save before using the smith, just to be safe. Next, one of my most favorite mods is the reinforcement system. This is going to make it where when you are fighting battles in any landscape or castle, reinforcements will come for both you and the enemy if there is friendly or enemy groups nearby. There was times with this mod where a fight of 50 versus 50 turned into a fight of 50 versus 200, slowly having reinforcements arrive over and over again. It makes battles a little bit more chaotic and also scary, but it's so much more immersive. There is nothing more cooler than having those epic sieges of thousands of troops, and the more of an experienced player you are or later in the game, the more you will appreciate this mod because it makes the combat so much more fun. Next we have the realistic weather mode, which adds a bunch of weather mods in the game, something that From Tales should have added in the base game. Those effects will not only be there for the looks, they will actually impact the way you fight by having fogs, rains, sandstorms, a bunch of different effects. It's an amazing mod to have and it completely changes how you will approach battles or travel through the landscapes. I am using better Pikes, which is going to actually make Pikes dangerous and strong now. Before using this mod, Pikes were some of the worst weapons you could use. Better Pikes makes them actually dangerous and deadly. There were times where I was running around with full HP only to get one-shotted by someone hitting me with a pike while running on my horseback. This is going to change how you approach battles. You will actually be using Pikes to counter cavalry, and it's something that it should be included in the base game. We have the Nostalgia camera tweak, which is going to give you a much more better third-person camera. Now you will be able to see your actual armor, and this adjusts with your ranged weapons or the different weapons you are using. This is the best third-person camera mode I have found, and in my opinion a must-have. We have a bunch of Artemis mods, starting with Artemis Nostalgic Conversations. It's going to make the third-person conversation dialogues play and look way much more alive and better. We have the Daytime Hideout Assault Revived, which is going to make it where you will be able to raid hideouts during the day. Some of the bandits hideouts look so pretty during the day. I've played for over 600 hours and I've never seen most of those hideouts during the day, which this mod is going to change, and it makes sense and it's amazing to have. Then we have the Artems lively animation, which in my opinion this is one of the most impressive mods we have. This is going to add so many more animations for your character and all of the NPCs. With this mod on, your character will feel way more alive the way he walks with his weapon. You have different animations for using 100, 200 weapons or different type of ranged weapons. This also changes the animations when it comes to troops fleeing and running away, adding wounding animations, and this also comes for the troops. By the time you will hit less than 20% of your health, you will walk super slow, and you will have also unique animations to play. This applies for every single NPC, so it makes again the combat so much more immersive. And when your enemies will retreat with this mod on, they will drop their weapons and they will play the fling animation. Next we have the Bandit Black Hole. This will make it where instead of having to fight every single bandit group individually, with this mod all of the different bandit groups that are around will actually be attracted the moment you find bandits. This will lead into fights where you will be fighting 60 or 100 bandits, and it's super fun mod to have, so you might think again before you attack bandits. You want to combine this with better bandit troop trees, which is going to add a brand new selection of bandit troop trees. If you are like me and you like playing with roguery around, you will be using mostly bandit type of troops, so you will have all different types of troops to use when it comes to bandits, and it's an amazing mod to have that I cannot go back and play the game without this. I have 3 more mods before closing the video. We have the healing on kill based on medicine skill. This is going to add the ability for you to gain health every time you kill someone, and have in mind this mod combined with many other mods are adjustable through mod configuration. I personally use this for my character to restore around 3 health every time I kill someone if I have a skill of medicine of 300 plus, which in my opinion is perfectly balanced. And if you are someone like me who will be killing over 100 troops in every single battle, you can actually pivot and make it where you can survive if you play very carefully. We have the BattleSize Resized, which is going to make it where you can have over 2000 of troops show up when it comes to battles. If your system can handle this, have in mind this might cause some frame drops. This is a fantastic mod to have. I find what From Tailwords was doing with splitting those super big fights into waves and waves, it's kinda lame and boring. This will make it way more scary when it comes to sieges or fights, because it will be much more hard to fight those big numbers. And lastly we have the Artemis Reshade. Artemis Reshade is the best reshade I have found on the Nexus. This is going to graphically enhance your game to make it look as you see now. You will have better lighting and better shadows. You have no idea how many times I got jump scared in bandit hideouts or prison breaks, because sometimes if a soldier is standing in a dark corner with this reshade on, you might not see them, which is so much immersive in my opinion. This gives amazing looks. I have no performance loss using this. That was my whole list of mods when it comes to M&B Bannerlord. There is a new DLC coming up in the next few months, so I will be expecting half of those mods not to work when this happens. I could have added way more mods, but I figured out some other mods I've wanted to add in this video. They were actually causing crashes. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, let me know if you like those type of videos, and I'm going to cover M&B more in the future. That was me, Kavou, as always. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Stay out of trouble and peace.